What's going on, people? Welcome to J Talks Chelsea and welcome to my match review for our big win in the Premier League, 3-0 away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in our London derby. Massive win, absolutely great win. Of course, wasn't the best start and the best first half, but we managed to pull through and get a huge second half performance. Absolutely great win. So of course we're going to get on to talking about some of the match stats, get into what happened and talk a bit about the players. But before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, and if you do, why not hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on new uploads. Also, if you could, leave a like. If you did, I'd really appreciate it. So let's start off by talking about the match, and we're going to start off, of course, as we do, with the lineup. So for the lineup, we go, of course, sort of with a 3-4-3 with the two players sort of just across and just behind the striker. And of course, we had in goal was actually Kepa Arrizabalaga coming in for Edouard Mendy, who had an injury that he must have sustained at the end of the Zenit game when he, I think it might have been when he went down and collided with one of the Zenit players. We then move on to the back three, which was Andreas Christensen, Thiago Silva and Antonio Rudiger. Then, of course, in the midfield was Alonso at left wing back, Dave Azpilicueta at right wing back, and of course Jorginho and Kovacic in the midfield pivot. And then we had Kai Havertz and Mason Mount just behind Romelu Lukaku up front. So we're going to start talking about the match and how it went, but before we do, I'd just like to pay my respects to, of course, the great Jimmy Greaves, who sadly passed away, and obviously they did a really good little tribute to him. Some Tottenham legends like sort of Ledley King and Glenn Holloway and people like that. Nice little tribute to him before the match, and of course his legend, scored a ton of goals, all at the top flight, and so rest in peace, Jimmy Greaves. So the game opened up, and Tottenham actually surprisingly went for quite a high press, an intense start to the game. In the second minute, there was a great block by Christensen, who came in. There was a ball that came in, and if Christensen hadn't got a block for that, Kane could have easily have just tapped that in. And like I said, there was early pressure from Spurs, and there was a free kick from Kane hitting the wall, just going wide. And there was again just some good, really good pressing and possession from Spurs, and we couldn't really get out of our half really that much. Didn't we create too much for the first 10 minutes. And into the 11th minute, however, Rudiger does manage to float in a really decent ball to Dave, who heads it down into the path of Kai Havertz, but sadly he just completely misses his volley that he tried to attempt. So then we move into a chance that we had. Mason Mount was breaking through, and it became like a 3-on-2 situation, and Havertz was on the left, he was free, but he decided instead to go for what I think was the wrong ball and take it to Lukaku, who just sadly had it played behind him as well, who played it back into Mount, who sadly hit it straight at the Tottenham defender. A bit of a poor chance wasted there. Then in the 17th minute, a quick free kick over the top as Thiago Silva manages to clear off of Kane, who probably would have been offside in that position anyway. And then in the 19th minute, Reguilon running through after being played in with a really, really nice ball, and he crosses across the ball over into the box. Bit of a poor cross, and Rudiger does manage to clear it, but it comes out to Kane, who floats the ball in. However, Kepa does spill it, but just manages to keep it into his hands, get into his grasp. There's also Chelsea defenders around him, so there wasn't too much danger in that situation. So yeah, for the opening 20 minutes, it was mostly Spurs, but no real clear-cut chances for either team. We were really, really sloppy and couldn't get out of our half really for most of that first half, just a few counter-attacks here and there. And we just really didn't get any sort of foothold in the game, and we were really poor offensively. And then in the 25th minute, Christensen does get a bit of a shot away, just goes wide. Considering the guy's never scored, it would have been quite nice to have seen that fly in. But again, it was a bit of a poor start for us. But then in the 30th minute, the game really did open up for both sides. There's a lot of cagey moments, some fouls being thrown in there, a few chances for each team as well. In the 32nd minute, Lo Celso plays Son in one-on-one with Kepa, but he just, thankfully for us, manages to have a bit of a poor touch, and Kepa bravely comes in and makes the save. And that was really it for half time. 0-0, of course. Spurs going quite a decent first half for them with that high press, and mainly they had the best chances overall in that first half. And it was a bit open for most of it. We had a few chances each, and overall there wasn't that many shots on target. There was only like one shot on target really in the first half, not too many. And there was a real lack of quality finishing wise for both teams, especially us as well. And yeah, that was the first half. Into the second half, Mason Mount came off, who had a bit of a poor first half. He actually came off, and Kante, back from injury, came on. And we sort of changed up to a 3-5-2 formation as we were getting quite outrun in the midfield. So I think Tuchel brought Kante on to really bolster the midfield, and we went for Lukaku and Havertz up top together on their own. And that change in formation and a bit more intensity in the second half saw Thiago Silva, and he put a really nice ball over, and Alonso, tight angle, managed to get a really nice volley, and Luis makes a good save. And then in the 49th minute, we get the goal. We break the deadlock as a corner comes in, and Silva, with a nice late run, he leaps up ahead of Dele Alli, who was just not marking him the best because he wasn't marking him, and he didn't really do much. And they came in, and he got a really nice header, went into the bottom corner, no chance for Luis, and we make it 1-0, really good header, and Silva, who had played so well up to that point, gets us the goal, and it was great, and we go in 1-0. And this is where we really started to take control for not only the beginning of the second half, but pretty much for most of it. And the 52nd minute, a great play by Alonso into Havertz, and the cross comes over to Dave, and a ball back into Alonso, and a really good save by Luis. That was a really good save, a good chance for us. And then in the 56th minute, we make it 2-0 as N'Golo Kante shoots about 30 yards out, and sadly for Dyer, it does deflect off him, and it looked like it was going wide. I thought it was going to go past the post, but then it actually ends up hitting the post and going in. Of course, Luis, absolutely no chance, and we make it 2-0. The goal has also been given to Kante. It's not been given as an own goal. So yeah, we make it 2-0. Absolutely great, and from there, you obviously knowing that we're pretty much going to be now in control for most of the game, and that is what happened. So Skip and Hill came on for Ndombele and Lo Celso for Tottenham, and then in the 63rd minute, Kane has a bit of a shot, but Kepa comfortable really, and then the 69th minute, Havertz comes on for his fellow countryman Timo Werner. So in the 72nd minute, Kepa had a bit of cramp after actually having a good catch for a cross that came in. We know Kepa's not really known that well for his catching ability, but he did all right there. Went down with a bit of cramp, it was fine after that. So then into the 74th minute, a corner comes in, and Silva with a really good header, and Luis, even though it's straight at him, makes a really good save. And that was another really good save by Luis. That was quite at him with a lot of pace, so that was quite a decent save that. Into the 77th minute, and Lukaku with some really nice play, plays through Werner, but sadly Werner, as he seems to always do, just completely gets his wrong foot and just completely wrong foots the ball, and ends up going out wide, sadly. In the 79th minute, the game got its only card as Werner gets a yellow card for a lunging challenge on Hill. In the 80th minute, it was a bit of a chance. Kante plays to Werner, who sadly sees his shot saved by Luis, and then Cover plays it to Dave, and then we get another save by Luis before it comes back out to Alonso and Lukaku kind of getting in the way of each other for their shots. So that was a bit disappointing. In the 82nd minute, Romero comes off, and Davinson Sanchez comes on for Spurs. In the 86th minute, Rudiger crosses from the left, and a really good header by Lukaku, but sadly goes straight down the throat of Hugo Lloris for a decent save. So we didn't really put too many of our chances away, but after dominating most of the second half since the Kante goal, we then finally make it 3-0 in the 91st minute as a corner comes in to Dave, who plays it out to Werner, who plays the ball in, and who's there but, of all people, Rudiger, to actually just almost striker instincts and finishes it in the bottom corner. Really good finish from the centre half as we make it 3-0 to end a really great second half after a bit of a poor first half. And then of course it ends full time 3-0. Great win, really good win to get a 3-0 win in the London derby. So I've picked up a few of the match stats. There was only one yellow card for Werner. We had 20 attempts to Tottenham's 8, and I'm going to guess that a lot of them were in the second half as well. And then we had 10 attempts on target. Not bad actually, with Tottenham having 2. Our XG was actually 2.2 to Tottenham's 0.7. And possession-wise, we had 52% possession to Tottenham's 47%. So actually, not too much possession-wise. I think I did reflect it. It was quite open for most of it, but then really most of the second half, sort of after the second goal really, which was about the 55th minute, we really started to take control. But that first half was pretty open. So I'm going to talk a bit about some of the players that I thought were quite standout in the game. And I'm going to start off actually with Kepa, who actually looked quite comfortable. Yeah, he spilled that one chance, but there was players back, and they still managed to get the ball in the end. And he made a few saves, nothing too major in terms of chances for Spurs. There wasn't any clear-cut chances, but yeah, I thought it was decent, and he kept a clean sheet. I also want to talk about the entire back line. I thought Andreas Christensen was really good. Again, just more of the same sort of composure from him. I think he's done pretty well this season. He just kind of does his bit really, solid defensively. I then want to talk about the man, Rudiger. Honestly, what a tank. He is just so good. Driving runs, defensively really good, and he gets that just really, really good finish at the end there to make it 3-0. And I want to talk about the man of the match, deserved man of the match, Thiago Silva. He had a great game. Son was paired up against him, and I don't even remember Son really getting too many chances, really using his experience, and got that header to make it 1-0. Just an absolute great game by Thiago Silva. And of course Kante, who came off the bench, had a massive impact, again just doing what he does, breaking up the play, but also getting that rare goal. He's got a good shot on him at times, Kante. I think he can have a decent shot, and he got that goal, and overall he just did what Kante does. The only downer, of course, would be Mason Mount did go off at half time. He was a bit poor in his decision making. He didn't really take a lot of the chances that we had. I think he should have really played it off to Havertz for that one chance, and it was quite disappointing, really. But hopefully he'll come back stronger in the next game. So I'm going to talk about the match now. I'm going to start off by talking about the first half and how that went. I think personally we were really sloppy and sluggish in the first half. We didn't create enough. We were quite poor offensively. Tottenham actually doing all right, pressing, making chances, and having the better of the chances. And they were really at it. I remember Holberg was doing quite well in the first half for them. But then into the second half, completely changed. I think the change in formation and a bit more energy, and we just dominated that second half. 3 goals. 3 goals in the second half at Tottenham, that is really, really decent. I think the players, again, I talked about the players, and I think some of them were really, really good, especially, like I said, the likes of Rudiger, and the defensive line were pretty good. I don't think Lukaku had his best game, but like I said, overall, offensively, we were really good in that second half. We dominated pretty much the second half, and in the end, we actually never really looked like conceding as well. Tottenham, for the most part, despite having some of the better chances in the first half, they actually didn't really create any clear-cut chances for the most part. There was never really a moment where I thought like, ooh, that was close, or Kepa could have maybe made a save or something. We just never really looked like conceding too many goals. I think the defence was quite good, and I think also Tottenham were quite sluggish with their offensive play as well. So there was my match review for our big win against Spurs away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. What a win, what a second half performance. I also read a stat somewhere that we're actually, it's now 6 consecutive away London derbies. So again, we just keep doing what we're doing. And they are absolutely great result, big 3 points, really, really decent second half performance. And of course, now we move on to the Carabao Cup in midweek. So anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Come on you Blues, up the Chels!